The morning rush at Brightline Financial felt like a storm. Phones rang nonstop, printers spat out papers, keyboards clicked in a frantic rhythm. On the 15th floor, a sea of cubicles stretched out under bright white lights. Coffee cups, sticky notes, stressed faces. Another day. At the center of it all was Jade Carter. Jade was 29, a black single mother and team lead in customer support. She had tired eyes but a steady voice that made angry clients calm down in minutes. She came to work early, left late, and carried the weight of rent, daycare, and medical bills on her shoulders. She also worked under Richard Whitman. Richard was the kind of boss who loved to hear his own voice. Expensive suit, silver hair slicked back, forced smile that never reached his eyes. He believed fear was better than respect, and he treated his workers like they were disposable. Today, Richard felt powerful. The company was expecting a big visitor. A strategic partner was all anyone knew. There were rumors about a new investor or even a takeover. Management had been on edge for weeks. Richard believed this was his moment to shine in front of corporate. So when he walked onto the floor that morning, he wanted the whole building to see who was in charge. He got his chance faster than he expected. The public humiliation. At 9:15 a.m., an angry client called. Jade answered as usual. "Yes, ma'am, I see the double charge," she said softly. "I am so sorry for the trouble. I will fix this for you now." She started typing, correcting the account, but the system lagged. A spinning loading circle flashed on the screen. The client raised her voice on the other end, demanding to speak to a manager. Jade lifted her hand to get help, hoping for a quick override code. Richard stepped out of his glass office just then, already irritated. He had been rehearsing his speech for the investor and did not like being disturbed. "What is it now?" he snapped, walking toward Jade's desk. Jade muted the call. "Sir, the system is stuck while I process a refund. The client is very upset and asking for..." Richard cut her off with a wave. "Of course she is upset. Look at what you are doing." His voice was loud, too loud. Heads started to turn. "Sir, the system froze. I was just..." "You people always have an excuse," he said, eyes narrowing on her. "You click wrong buttons, then blame the system. Do you enjoy making us look incompetent?" Jade felt heat rise to her face. She glanced at her teammates. Some looked away. Some stared, helpless. "Sir, I did follow the procedure." Richard grabbed her headset and pressed the unmute button without asking. "This is Richard Whitman, head of operations," he told the client. "Yes, I apologize for the confusion. One of my junior staff members made a basic mistake. I will handle it personally. You know how it is with people who are learning on the job." He looked Jade in the eye when he said learning, with a smirk that said he meant something else. He fixed the error quickly, proving that he still knew the system, then hung up. The floor was silent. Richard dropped the headset onto Jade's desk. "Basic transaction, Jade. A child could handle that." His voice rose even louder. "I do not know how long we are supposed to tolerate this level of mediocrity." A couple of workers flinched. Jade swallowed. "I did exactly what?" "Enough." He stepped closer, towering over her. "You want to be taken seriously in this company? Then stop acting like you are doing us a favor by just showing up." The words cut deep. Jade had been working extra hours to keep her metrics high. Last week, she closed more tickets than anyone else. None of that seemed to matter. Richard turned around to address the entire floor. "Listen up," he shouted. "Our new partner is visiting today. I will not have this place looking like a daycare center. If you cannot perform, you will not be here much longer. That is a promise." He looked around, satisfied with the fear in their eyes. Then he saw Marcus. Marcus was the building's black janitor, pushing a cleaning cart by the hallway. He was in his late 40s, quiet, with warm eyes that always greeted everyone. Richard's nose wrinkled. "And you," Richard said, pointing at Marcus, "what are you doing cleaning here now? I told your supervisor I do not want any carts visible when important guests arrive." Marcus blinked, surprised. "Sir, I was told to have this floor ready by. Do I look like I care?" Richard barked. "Move it. Some of us are trying to run a real company." A few people shifted uncomfortably. Marcus nodded and quietly turned his cart around. Richard watched him go, then clapped his hands once. Back to work. No more mistakes. He walked back into his office, glass door swinging behind him. Everyone pretended to focus on their screens, but the mood had changed. Jade's eyes filled, yet she refused to let a tear fall. Inside, though, something cracked. Whispers, wounds, and a quiet camera. 10 desks away, Lena, a young intern, sat frozen. Her heart pounded. She had never seen a manager speak like that to people. Without thinking, her fingers had gone to the little record button on her phone when Richard started yelling. She held the phone low, camera peeking over the keyboard. She captured every word he said to Jade and Marcus. She now stared at the video on her screen, shocked. "Should I delete it?" she whispered to herself. Across from her, Diego, another support agent, leaned over. "Did you just film that?" he breathed. Lena nodded slowly. "You cannot post that," Diego said. "You will get fired. He will crush you." "I know," she said, "but what he did was wrong." Jade, still at her desk, tried to keep working. Her hands shook when she typed. She thought of her daughter, Nia, who always asked, "Mommy, are you the boss at your office?" She wished she could say yes. Marcus finished cleaning the hallway and stopped by Jade's desk on his way to the elevator. "You all right, Miss Jade?" he asked quietly. She forced a small smile. "I am fine, Marcus. Thank you." He looked at her closely. "My grandmother used to say," he murmured, "when a man forgets the people who lift him, life has a way of lowering him where he cannot see the ground." Jade let out a weak laugh. "Sounds like a wise woman." "She was," Marcus said. "Keep your head up. People like him always think they are untouchable. They forget somebody is always watching." He gave her a nod and walked away. Jade went back to her calls, trying to bury the humiliation under tasks and tickets. But each time she heard Richard's words, they stabbed her again. She did not know it yet, but somebody watching was more real than she imagined. The visitor. By noon, the whole building smelled of fresh coffee and catered food. A long conference table in the boardroom was covered with pastries, fruit, and shining silver jugs. Richard straightened his tie in the reflection of the glass door. He practiced his smile, the one that said he cared deeply about his staff, though he did not. "Remember," he told the managers gathered at the entrance, "we show unity, we show discipline. If anyone from the floor messes up, they are gone by tomorrow." The elevator dinged. Out stepped a tall black man in a dark blue suit. No tie, simple watch. He had a calm presence that made people straighten up subconsciously. 2 assistants followed him, but he walked alone, eyes scanning the room. "Mr. Whitman?" he asked. "Yes, welcome, welcome," Richard said, rushing forward with outstretched hands. "You must be Mr. Cole. We are honored to have you here at Brightline." "Please call me Elias," the man said, shaking his hand. Lena and Diego watched from their desks as the visitor walked across the floor. His eyes paused briefly on Jade, who was politely greeting a caller, then moved on. He seemed to be registering everything. They did not know that Elias Cole was not just any partner. He was the new majority stakeholder. His private equity firm had bought controlling interest in Brightline Financial 2 weeks ago. Officially, this was just a meet and greet. Unofficially, he was here to decide which leaders would stay when the restructuring began. He already had a thick file on Richard Whitman. Complaints, exit interviews, HR reports closed with no action. Anonymous emails about racist jokes, biased promotions, and public humiliation. Nothing had ever stuck because Richard had friends at the top. But ownership had changed. Elias wanted to see for himself. That was why he asked to start the visit with a walk through the regular operations floor instead of going straight to the boardroom. "Let me show you where the magic happens," Richard said, walking him past the cubicles. They stopped near Jade's desk. "This is our support department," Richard announced. "They handle thousands of customer queries per week. Very well trained. I push them hard, but they know I care." He put a hand on Jade's chair without asking. "How are we doing today, Jade?" he asked loudly. Jade stiffened. "We are keeping up with the volume, sir," she said carefully, aware of the eyes on her. Elias studied her face. There was something in her eyes. Tired, guarded. "You like working here?" Elias asked her, his tone gentle. Jade hesitated. "I like helping clients, sir." Richard jumped in quickly. "She is one of my best, but she still has things to learn. This morning, she almost mishandled a simple refund. I had to step in. Growing pains, you know how it is." Elias' eyes flickered. "I see," he said quietly. He thanked Jade and moved on. As the group walked away, Lena and Diego exchanged a look. "This is bad," Diego whispered. "He just lied straight to that man's face." Lena opened her phone. The video of the morning's humiliation stared back at her. Her hands shook again. "What if," she said slowly, "the right person saw what really happened?" The moment of truth. An hour later, everyone gathered in the large conference room. Glass walls, projector, view of the city. Jade had been asked to help set up the laptop and slides. She stood at the side, trying to stay invisible. Richard stood at the head of the table, smiling widely at Elias. "So as you can see from our last quarter," Richard said, clicking through charts, "we have increased efficiency by pushing our staff to their highest potential. I believe in strong discipline. People perform when they know there are consequences." Elias listened silently, fingers interlocked. "Culture is everything," Richard continued. "I run a tight ship, yes, but they respect me. They know I treat everyone the same. No special treatment." He said this with a straight face, thinking of how many times he had mocked Jade's accent or Marcus' job. Elias glanced at Jade by the wall, then back at Richard. "Interesting," Elias said. "Tell me, Richard, how often do you spend time on the floor with your staff?" "Oh, very often," Richard replied. "I believe in leading from the front. They see me as a mentor. Ask anyone." Elias leaned back. "How about we do exactly that?" Richard blinked. "Pardon?" Elias rose from his chair. "I would like to open the floor," he said. "I want to hear from your people. What is it really like to work here?" The room shifted. Managers looked at each other, unsure. Richard laughed nervously. "Of course, they will tell you how demanding our standards are, but also how much we support them." He gestured to Jade. "Jade, you have been here a long time. Why do you not share something about our culture?" Jade's heart dropped. She had not expected to speak. Her throat felt dry. Elias looked at her kindly. "Ms. Carter, yes? Please, no pressure. I am just interested in your experience." Jade took a breath. She could lie and protect her job, or she could tell the truth and risk losing everything. She thought of Nia again, the little girl who told her, "Mommy, I am proud of you." What kind of example did she want to set? She straightened up. "Working here has taught me a lot about patience," she began slowly, "and about people." Richard relaxed slightly. That sounded safe. Jade continued, "I have learned that some people believe criticism must be loud to be effective. That respect only flows one way. That fear is a tool." Richard's jaw tightened. "But I have also learned that the people at the desks out there," she said, voice growing stronger, "care about the clients more than anyone sees. They stay late, they skip breaks, they fix mistakes they did not cause. They support each other when they are shouted at, because we all know we could be next." The room went quiet. Richard cut in quickly. "All right, thank you, Jade. That will be all." Elias raised a hand. "Let her finish." Jade met Elias' eyes. He gave a small nod. She swallowed. "This morning," she said, hands trembling, "I made a call following company procedure. The system froze. The client became upset. Instead of helping me calmly, my manager chose to shout at me, blame me to the client, and call me mediocre in front of the entire floor. Several managers looked stunned. They had not known. Jade continued. He also humiliated Marcus, our janitor, for just doing his job. It was not the first time. Many of us have filed complaints. Nothing changed. Richard slammed his palm on the table. This is outrageous, he snapped. She is exaggerating because she cannot handle pressure. This is exactly the kind of emotional weakness that drags teams down. He turned to Elias, voice rising. You give some people a little responsibility and they think they deserve the world. They come in late, bring their personal drama, and then cry discrimination when you hold them accountable. The words hung in the air. Jade's eyes burned, but she stood firm. Across the table, Lena gripped her phone. Elias looked at Jade. Do you have any proof of this morning's incident? He asked softly. Jade hesitated. No, sir. We are not allowed to use phones on the floor. I would never record my manager. She meant it. She had been too shocked to do anything. But someone else had. A shaky voice spoke up from the back. I do. Everyone turned. Lena stood there, face pale. Richard stared. What did you say? Lena held up her phone. Sir, I know we are not supposed to, but when you started yelling, I hit record, she said. I did not plan it. I just felt it was wrong. Elias' eyes sharpened. May I see it? He asked. Lena walked forward and placed the phone in his hand. The room was dead silent as Elias pressed play. The sound of Richard's voice filled the conference room. You people always have an excuse. A child could handle that. Do I look like I care? Move it. Some of us are trying to run a real company. The video caught everything. The tone. The insults. Marcus pushing his cart away without a word. Richard's face turned red, then pale. Context, he stammered. This is out of context. I was under pressure. We had the investor visit coming and I needed everything perfect. You know how it is, Elias. Sometimes you need to be tough with staff like them. He stopped himself, but the damage was done. Elias slowly put the phone down. Staff like who, Richard? He asked quietly. Richard faltered. I mean, people who, do not understand corporate culture. You give them a chance and they still play victim. You cannot let them walk all over you. The managers looked anywhere but at him. Elias breathed in deeply. I see, he said. Thank you for your honesty. The power shift. Elias straightened, his calm turning into something colder. Everyone in this room, he said, needs to hear this clearly. He looked at Jade, then at Lena, then at the invisible workers on the floor outside. My firm did not invest millions of dollars to watch leaders abuse the people who keep this company alive. We did not come here to protect egos. We came here to build something that lasts. He turned to Richard. I have read every complaint about you, Elias said. I wanted to believe they were exaggerated. That maybe you were strict, but fair. He tapped the phone. This video tells me otherwise. Richard raised his chin. You are going to let one emotional moment erase years of results? No, Elias said. I am going to let a pattern of behavior and a total lack of humility erase your job. The words hit like a slap. You cannot fire me? Richard laughed, though his voice shook. The board trusts me. I have been here longer than anyone. You do not understand how things work. Oh, I understand perfectly, Elias replied. That is why I bought the company. Effective immediately, I am exercising my authority as majority owner. He turned to the HR director. Richard Whitman is suspended, pending a full investigation into workplace harassment and discrimination, Elias said. His system access is revoked today. Security will escort him from the building after this meeting. Gasps echo around the table. Richard stared at him in disbelief. You cannot do this to me, he said. You have no idea what I have sacrificed for this place. Elias' voice stayed steady. The people sacrificing are out there answering phones while you tear them down, he said. You forgot that leadership is service. You forgot that people are not props for your power. Richard looked around the room, searching for someone to defend him. No one did. He grabbed his briefcase, knocking over a glass of water. "This company will fall apart without me," he spat. "You will see." He stormed out of the room, face twisted with rage. The door closed behind him with a heavy click. No one spoke for a moment. Then Elias turned to Jade. "Ms. Carter," he said, "thank you for speaking up. That takes courage."